Welcome to Meaningful Mornings. The best commentary on the Bhagavad Gita is Srimad Bhagavatam. When we are exposed to Srimad Bhagavatam, then Bhagavad Gita becomes more real. In Srimad Bhagavatam, there's a great devotee whose name is Dhruva. How many of you have heard of this name before? He has two mothers. One is Suniti and one is Suruchi. Suniti is encouraging Dhruva to follow the path of peace. Suruchi is encouraging Dhruva to follow the path of position. And eventually, he does follow the path of position, but thinks more, and so follows the path of peace. Fun story. Now think. Suruchi means doing what you like to do. And Suniti means doing what is right. Ruchi, what I like to do. Niti, what is right. And Dhruva means the one who flows. If we flow towards doing what we like, that is an investment in position. But Dhruva learned no position lasts forever. And if you flow towards that which is right, then one starts to flow towards peace, which does last forever. Meaningful Mornings. I'm not quite clear about what your feeling is towards Meaningful Mornings, but for me, Meaningful Mornings is training in reflecting. To not take one's map, one's guide for granted, to reflect on what does Dhruva mean, what does Suruchi mean, what does Suniti mean. And for those who are being trained well in reflecting, your relationship with the trust triangle becomes more real. More real than your paycheck, more real than your friends. In verse 33 of chapter 11, Shri Krishna shares, Tvam uttishtata. Tvam is Prince Arjuna. Tvam is you. Stand. In verse 34, the teaching is Tvam jahi. Jahi means to kill. So in one verse, stand up, and the other verse, kill. There are millions of haters in our humanity. There are thousands of terrorists in our humanity. Those who hate, those who terrorize, they take Bhagavad Gita literally only. In which case, verse 34 is exclusive to those who have special needs, to those who can't stand. Verse 33. Verse 34 is encouraging violence. Anyone who's reflective has tuned into Bhagavad Gita teaches jnana, teaches one to know vastness. Infinity is equivalent to absolute inclusivity. For the one who knows vastness, there can be no hating, no terrorizing. These references to war is because the Mahabharata is a historical text. Wars are real. There's a war happening right now in Europe. And that's why the Mahabharata is described as a itihasa. This is our history. And don't use the word eva, which means alone. And Mahabharata, Bhagavad Gita, is a perpetual text, not just historical, but perpetual, which is why it's also described as smriti, that which is to be remembered while you live. Every one of us is going through an inner war, which manifests as an outer war. A couple of days ago, when I was buckling our kids into their car seats, then someone in our neighborhood had called me over. He had pulled up to the front of our driveway and asked me if I knew so-and-so person, because they wanted to be on a committee of some sort. And I said, I know this person, you should do your research, whether you want this person to be on your committee. And as I'm walking away, he says, it will be good to have your people on our committee. Your people. And I just smiled and thought to myself that if I give this any more thought than it deserves, then that fight's still going on in my mind. With our older son Vyasa, I find sometimes when he interacts with Shuka, he does so in a retaliatory way. If you don't give me this, I'm not going to give you that. Now, if I overthink this, then there's so many weapons that are going on in my mind, correct? Do you agree that this war is perpetual? Giving you one more example of this. To really reflect on this, to feel that this is real, when my parents and I were with Pujya Swami Tejomayananda, and he was looking at us, and he looked at my mother and said, "What's wrong?" And she didn't say anything. And I had told him that my mother's mother, as in my nani, has a chest infection, so she's in the hospital on a ventilator. And Pujya Swami Tejomayananda said, I knew there was something wrong. And he said, it's okay to be anxious, but only 3 out of 10 on the scale of anxiety. When we live, there's going to be anxiety, but one can't be more anxious than a 3 out of 10. You have to come up with your own feeling. And the only way I've found through my study, through my experience, to not let that anxiety level rise is to revolve around the purpose of serving. This is what chapter 11 is building up to. Shri Krishna is the presence. We are to feel this presence by serving this presence. You want to know what the purpose of your life is? Nimitta matram. Period. Everything else is wrong. Your only purpose is to be an instrument. And what's so powerful about this, if your purpose changes, your personality will change too. One will no longer feel dejection, anxiety, stress. One will be cheerful. One will be content like Shri Krishna. We continue, verse 35. Shri Krishna spoke, Prince Arjuna spoke. Now, Sanjaya is speaking again. Sanjaya uvacha Etat shrutva vachanam keshavasya kritanjalirvepamana kiriti namaskritva bhuya evaha krishnam sagadgatam bhita bhita pranamya. Sanjaya shares, Etat shrutva, having heard what Sri Krishna just shared. Who's hearing this? Who's listening to this? Prince Arjuna. Vachanam Keshavasya. He is listening to this directly from the mouth of Sri Krishna. The fact that chapter 11, which is a middle-ish portion of Bhagavad Gita, keeps swinging between the dialogue of Prince Arjuna and Sri Krishna and Sanjaya and Dhritarashtra proves that the Bhagavad Gita and Mahabharata is historical. That's the dialogue between Prince Arjuna and Sri Krishna, and perpetual. Sanjaya speaking to Dhritarashtra is us. We are listening in to what happened in history. This is precedent for us. Is everyone clear about that connection? There's two dialogues happening. One is showing history, one is showing the present. The present should be remembered. In the present, we should remember history and then go about living. Kritanjalihi, can you show this to me with your hands? What does Kritanjalihi mean? With both hands open like this. Can you see my hands? Vepamanaha, yet trembling. Like Prince Arjuna's hands are shaking. Kiriti, the one who's wearing a crown. These details are incredible. Prince Arjuna is wearing a crown. Sri Krishna is wearing a peacock feather. Yet who's the one experiencing fear? See how that gold crown provides no security. He's trembling. Why is Prince Arjuna feeling fear yet reverence? It's because he's come to understand and appreciate that there's more to life than himself. He thought he's the one that is doing, he's the one that is deserving, but now that notion has been knocked out. And so he's feeling intimidated. That's the fear part. Yet, this intimidation is not loose. It is being directed towards Sri Krishna. That's why he has reverence. His intimidation is not making him devolve, it's making him evolve. When you are with someone who's great, there is an element of fear, correct? That we're not living up to how they live. But that is a wonderful experience because it helps us to evolve. Namaskritva bhuya. And Prince Arjuna prostrates again and again and again. Eva aha Krishnam. And he speaks to Sri Krishna. I don't have a lot of time now. On our yatra, Vivek and our yatris got to go to the Sri Rama Janma Bhoomi Mandir. And I had written about this. Through Sri Rama's grace, we were able to access the exact place where Sri Rama was born. Like me touching this closet behind me, that's how close I was prostrating. And I didn't know what to do with myself. My eyes were tearing up, my heart was pounding, my body felt so light. And I just described this as being exhilarating. It was just a place, though. There's so many places all around us. But that seeing was backed with understanding. And that's what Prince Arjuna is going through also. To try to de-emotionalize this. How will you know if you're feeling what Prince Arjuna is feeling? Your body will be calm. Your mind will be quiet. And your intellect will be still. If you experience that, it's exhilarating because you're so close to divinity. With Prince Arjuna, he's let go of everything else because he's holding on to Sri Krishna tightly. If you're holding on to the spirit tightly, you'll let go of this and that. Sagadgatam, and with a choked voice, bhita bhitaha, filled with fear, pranamya, he is sharing in a reverential way, that will come soon. The final reflection on this final quarter, why Prince Arjuna still feels afraid, is he has faith, but not enough faith. He has knowledge, but not enough knowledge. You will know that you have full faith and full knowledge when you have no fear. You know you, which is why you don't fear you. You know the trust triangle, which is why you don't fear this. Prince Arjuna still has to have more faith, more knowledge. But please note that his fear is not of a worldly sense. What someone is saying about him, what someone is not doing. His fear is so sattvic, so meaningful. And this will become most clear in the next verse. One of the most lovely verses of the entire Bhagavad Gita, where we come across the beautiful word. You all read that. Stane. I have referenced this 1,000 times over the past 15 years with all of you. Our reference is coming. From inspiration to application, your application was, how do you realistically encourage instrumentship in society, in your community? My observation on this is through satsanga. By facilitating more opportunities for satsanga, it's in satsanga where we are exposed to instrumentship, correct? If you're just in school, just working, just volunteering, you're the doer. But in satsanga, we're exposed to a different identity. Your application for this morning is, for those who are right-handed, everything that you do that is less meaningful, like brushing your teeth and washing the dishes, do it with your left hand. And those who are left-handed, do it with your right hand. Okay? That which is less intense, do it with your weaker hand. Then you too will become Sabyasachi. Shanti, Shanti, Shantihi. Be safe, be sound, be serene, be joy.